Listening Part 3, you will hear 5 teenage writers talking about the process of creative writing. For questions 19 to 23, choose from the list A to H the advice each speaker gives. Use the letters only once. There are 3 extra letters which you do not need to use. Speaker 1.
If you've ever tried any creative writing, then you'll know there often comes a point where you feel you simply can't go any further. Whatever you write down looks awful and unskilled. The characters you've created don't work, and you certainly don't want anyone else to read and give their opinions on it. But that's just a stage, something you have to get over. Remember, even famous authors will have experienced it at some point, so keep going. After all, you've already written so much. What's to stop you from writing a brilliant ending and producing that best-selling novel you've been aiming for?
Speaker 2.
If you've got a story in your head, then getting it down on paper is comparatively easy. The hard part is making it good enough for other people to want to read it too, especially if you've written it quickly. You might well get halfway through, read what you've written back to yourself, and find it's actually a bit boring. If that's the case, why not introduce something different into the next bit of your story? A stranger suddenly appearing on the scene can set you off on another creative route. You might have to adjust your ideas for the ending of your story, but then that's the nature of creative writing, isn't it?
Speaker 3.
I love the process of producing stories, then reading them aloud to check if they work. Creating characters and getting them to think and behave how I want is a real delight. I'm always making notes of my ideas for how the story will develop, and what the ending will be. It's very motivating. Ideas can come from anywhere, when I'm messing about on the internet or watching a movie on TV, say. However, I've found that the best thing is to put the story to one side and pick a book by a classic author, someone with amazing talent. This really works. It's usually not long afterwards that an idea comes to me and I start writing again.
Speaker 4.
I've found since I started writing that it's easy to write pages and pages very quickly when you're inspired, but you must never assume then that you've finished and can't possibly improve on the work. I've discovered that if you look carefully over what you've done, you'll always find bits that strike you as really good. The trick is to bring the rest of it up to that level. Some great modern writers have commented that they listen to music or browse the internet or something while they're being creative, but that just doesn't work for me, I'm afraid.
Speaker 5.
Writing a great story sounds simple, doesn't it? Especially if you're in the habit of reading the work of great authors, which always seems perfect. But don't forget, just like you, they worked long and hard to get their writing to that point. I've found the best way to polish a piece of writing to a state where others might actually want to read it is to make sure there are no interruptions while you're working on it. And in my case, that means switching off the internet. Then the ideas can flow freely. I just have to make sure I can write quickly enough to get them all down on paper.
That's the end of Part 3.